Welcome to Week 14 Fantasy Pros. We are back for some of my top plays on PrizePicks. Last week we were in the green, 6-3 overall with the early picks. Let's keep it rolling. Here are my top 10 early PrizePicks picks for NFL Week 14. But before we dive into the plays, want a chance to win a signed DK Metcalf Seattle Seahawks jersey, courtesy of Pristine Auction, the premier autographed sports memorabilia auction house? You just subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. Didn't win? You can still sign up at pristineauction.com using the link in our video description. If you use the registration code FantasyPros, you'll get $10 off your first order. Now let's get to my favorite picks for NFL Week 14. Let's kick things off. Josh Jacobs less than 72.5 rushing yards against the Vikings. The Raiders face the Vikings out of their bye week, and it's a tough matchup against Minnesota that I love on PrizePicks in Week 14. Minnesota has allowed just one running back to rush for 70-plus yards against them this season, and that happened all the way back in Week 2. Take the easy less than on Josh Jacobs' rushing yards prop at 72.5 rushing yards. Next, Dak Prescott more than 279.5 passing yards against the Eagles. Look, it's a high projected game environment that has me all over the Dak Prescott passing yards props on PrizePicks. The line opened at 279.5 passing yards. Prescott has gone over this number in 5 of his last 6 games, and all 4 of his last games played in Dallas in the Dome. The Eagles defense ranks 2nd in pass play rate faced this year, allowing the 3rd most passing yards per game. 4 of the last 5 quarterbacks the Eagles have faced have gone for 300 plus passing yards. Pitch and catch, folks, with Dak Prescott in Week 14. You're going to want to pair Prescott with CeeDee Lamb, more than 89.5 receiving yards against these same Eagles. Lamb has gone over 89.5 yards in 4 of his last 6 games. He went for 191 yards against the Eagles a few weeks back, with Prescott tossing for 374 passing yards. I also like Brandon Cooks, more than 45.5 receiving yards against the Eagles. Cooks has 40-plus receiving yards in 5 of his last 6 games, including 45 or more in all the home games he's played in Dallas's Dome. Take the more than on his receiving yards, set at 45.5 yards. Last week, Cooks caught 4 passes for 45 yards and a touchdown on just 4 targets. Cook played 90% of the snaps, reinforcing his status as the number 2 wide receiver in Big D. He also converted on a 2-point conversion try. He's evolved enough in the offense as the number 2 guy to get over this mark in a great matchup against Philadelphia, which should be a shootout with a point total over 50 points. New game here, looking at this Falcons team. Drake London, more than 46.5 receiving yards against the Buccaneers. London had just 1 catch last week for 8 yards on 5 targets for a 20% target share, but he still saw 97 air yards that basically just turned into a total air ball. Woof. But it was a predictably horrible matchup against the Jets that came to fruition, but not the case in Week 14 against Tampa Bay at home. He's got the discounted receiving yards prop because of what he did last week, but I want to buy low. 46.5 receiving yards against the defense that is allowing the 2nd most receiving yards per game to wide receivers in 2023. London had 54 yards against them back in Week 7 on the road and has gone over this number in his last 4 home games with Desmond Ridder at quarterback. Sticking with the same game here, I'm looking at another Falcons pass catcher, Kyle Pitts, more than 35.5 receiving yards against the Bucs. Look, Pitts led the Falcons last week with 51 yards on 4 catches from 8 targets, posting a 32% target share in Week 13. He also tallied over 100 air yards while running route on 90% of the dropbacks. Pitts' usage has ticked back up at the expense of Jonnu Smith in recent weeks. I like the over on his 35.5 receiving yards prop on PrizePicks. The Bucs are allowing the 5th most receiving yards per game to tight ends, and Pitts went for 47 yards on just 3 catches the last time he faced Tampa Bay. Next game here, looking at the 49ers against the Seahawks. Deebo Samuel, more than 51.5 receiving yards against Seattle. Look, I've been pounding the table for Brandon Ayuk the last 2 weeks, and he's overdue for a big yardage game. Look, I think that he's going to go over 63.5 receiving yards, even though he's been under 60 the last 2 weeks. But the best number and value in this matchup is tied to Deebo Samuel, no doubt about it. His receiving yards projection is set at 51.5 yards. He's gone over that number in 3 straight games and in 7 of his last 9 healthy games played this season. It's just too low of a number. So go over on Samuel and his quarterback, Brock Purdy, in Week 14 at home. Want to go more than Purdy has thrown for 250 passing yards or more in all of his home games this season. Exact same matchup, but looking at the other side to kind of pair with some of these 49ers players. Jackson Smith and Jigba, more than 44.5 receiving yards against San Fran. Look, JSN led Seattle in targets with 11 for 29% target share, converting them into 7 catches for 62 yards in week 13. He also had a touchdown catch that was overturned. So he saw some considerable playing time with 46 snaps, 67% snap share. He also ran a route on 74% of the dropbacks, really encouraging usage for the rookie. And he's trying to break out before our eyes. He's making plays left and right. Seems like he's finally back from his preseason injury that stunted his production to open the year. The 11 targets are an impressive number, but when you count plays nullified by penalties, Smith and Jigba actually saw a whopping 14 targets last Thursday night. JSN has now posted 40-plus receiving yards in 7 of his last 8 games since the bye week, with him coming off a large target game. I love the more than on his 44.5 receiving yards line on PrizePicks, with Seattle undoubtedly playing catch-up against this high-powered San Francisco 49ers offense. Looking ahead to the next game coming up here on Thursday night, Najee Harris, less than 59.5 rushing yards versus the New England Patriots. This game is going to be gross. We have a total that's at like 30 points, not projecting a lot of scoring in this game, so you want to look at some of these less stands on these players. Najee Harris led the ground attack for the Steelers with 63 yards on 16 carries, averaging 3.9 yards per carry in Week 13 against the Cardinals, but that was against one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. The Patriots are not that defense. The Patriots are the number 1 defense versus the run, allowing 3.3 yards per carry to opposing running backs. Go under on the game Thursday night and take the less than on Harris's bloated rushing yards prop at 59.5 yards, despite his split usage with Jaylen Warren. And last but not least, looking at the Houston Texans matchup here against the New York Jets, CJ Stroud, less than 256.5 passing yards versus the Jets. Look, Stroud's going to be tasked with a difficult matchup in this matchup against the Jets. Airtight defense in Week 14. Jets are allowing fewer than 200 passing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks. Only one QB they have faced this season has gone over 256 yards, which is Stroud's PrizePicks passing yards projection this week. His projection in the PrizePicks draft prop cheat sheet is 242 passing yards. Stroud was mortal against the Broncos defense at home this past week, throwing for just 274 yards. His yardage numbers have dropped in 5 straight games. We know the Jets are a run funnel defense. I think the Texans will embrace that a little bit with 2 of their healthier running backs back. So I think the trend continues with a tough matchup on decks for Stroud's passing yards to continue to go down. He doesn't have Tank Dell, and if he goes under his projected passing yardage, chances are he'll bring his wide receiver 1 with him. Nico Collins on the road this season has been held to 40 or fewer in receiving yards in his last 3 road games away from Houston. That's going to wrap my favorite PrizePicks selections for NFL Week 14. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Again, we want to have profitable NFL Sundays, and this is the best way to get ahead of the game. Make sure you check out the PrizePicks cheat sheet over on bettingpros.com to find more plays in Week 14. And before you go, remember, you want a chance to win a signed DK Metcalf Seattle Seahawks jersey, courtesy of Pristine Auction, the premier autographed sports memorabilia auction house. All you have to do is subscribe to the FantasyPros YouTube channel right now, comment below this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. And if you didn't win, you can still sign up at pristineauction.com using the link in our video description. If you use the registration code FantasyPros, you'll get $10 off your first order. Good luck in Week 14.